Hello and welcome back to European Pro League. I missed the first map. I got a quick message, just got out of bed, said, hey, we need a caster. Can you get online? And here I am, ready to cover Endpoint versus Anonymo. We're heading straight into map number 2 here. The map pick of Anonymo that is Ancient. Endpoint just managed to claw their way through Mirage. Now it's a bit more difficult task, a map which Anonymo absolutely love, a 90% pick rate on this one, but not a strong win streak at all. In fact, they've got a loss streak on it. But nevertheless, Anonymo, they can find the opening pick, and they shall be planting here on towards the B bomb site. Bomb plant secured. Now they look to secure a post plant towards long, but a firing squad established from Endpoint mows them all down. And Nami's lurk, which the entire play from this lurk was to try and close it out, ready to find some backstab. It's all null and void. Endpoint defuse the bomb before Nami even gets involved in the action. Good start here on Ancient for Endpoint. See the idea from Anonymo, taking lane control, pushing Endpoint back, even getting a pick, splitting the B site with some smokes towards long and short. Secure yourself a bomb plant, strong post plant positioning, even getting disruptive fighting towards long. But the thing is, Endpoint, because their entire rotation was through towards the back lane, firing squad established as mentioned before. Now round number 2, and Endpoint going very light on the utility for 4 M4 A1Ss and 1 for Mass. Anonymo in response are going to have rifles of their own, 4 Galils. They're looking to go for a quick pop up here on towards the B site. Judy will find the opening, but a couple kills come through, including a team kill in the form of the Molotov. So Endpoint are the ones to maintain an advantage here. Anonymo still with the bomb plant, but health low. They're going to have to dig deep to try and recover this one, and there it comes. Adrian pushing through in towards short, isolates Mighty Max. Sayot not in a position to trade, instead he's going to play time. See if he can let Surreal activate first. The swing comes through. Sayot finds Shooty, leaves Adrian. Process of elimination, he should realise that he's tucked in behind the square, and there you go, gets cleared out by Surreal. So Endpoint, they forfeit the bomb plant. They lose quite a few players, but they do secure that round win. At the end of the day, what matters most is that score at the top. But that round has got a lot going on in terms of the cost for Endpoint. They're going to have to make 3 reinvestments. They lost 2 of their M4s. On the Anonymo side, they came into that one with a force buy thanks to the bomb plant. If anything, their buy this round will be even better because they have an extra round loss bonus plus that bomb plant plus any kill reward. So you can see they've got 2 AKs this time instead of Galils. Extra utilities around these Mac 10s. They're going for an all-in play this time on the other side of the map. To an empty A bomb site. Endpoint going to have to play retake. Crucial. Looking to see if he can isolate 1 kill before falling back. He gets traded. A lot of damage done. Should make these Anonymo players a little bit easier to finish for Endpoint, who again are having to play retake, who again have forfeited a bomb plant. Anonymo, without donut control, going to be playing for the temple. And Sayot's random spam gives Endpoint a man advantage. A full retake coming in through towards the temple. Malavi finds a Zulu. Malavi now dancing around the broken pillar. Will find Sayot. Jumps up and the molly flushes him out, leaving Chudy in a 1 versus 2. The time's moving down on this bomb. Finding the edge of the smoke, but it's a very messy spray and it's punished. Surreal close out, and again another retake for Endpoint, and another round with only 2 players surviving. It's still costly, but it's a round wins nonetheless. But again, Anonymo, another bomb plant, another round where they get 3 kills, and this time it's an extra stage of loss bonus. This time it's max loss bonus, so they can get a full buy essentially. Again, missing a couple pieces of utility, but now it's 5 rifles, only 2 of which are Galils, the other 3 are AKs. So with each round, Anonymo's buy getting better and better in these last couple rounds. There's Endpoint. I'd say that Endpoint's buy is pretty good now. Able to save some more utility than previous kits. While it is still costly with 3 players, it's still building back slowly but surely. But again, Anonymo, they hit an MTA bomb site. This time it's a complete 5-on-5. Not a single point of damage done to either team. As the bomb is planted, Endpoint need to get a shuffle on to establish this retake. They don't have much extremity control with the exception of Crucial in towards Donut here. It's a similar retake setup for Endpoint, going heavy in towards the temple. Some utility thrown from CT to allow them out. Nami traded 1 for 1. Endpoint flood out of Temple. But this time, Anonymo were aware of the positioning. They're aware of the retake attempt. They have the crossfires established, and there's simply not enough time for the bomb for Endpoint. The Larvae close it with a double. So Anonymo get the first round on the board. Again, a healthier buy. Better better weapons in the form of AKs. They get that bomb planet on the A site. They saw the mistakes that they made in the previous round. Well, I say the mistakes. They saw where Endpoint was successful on the retake, and they decided to hard counter that play. Look, they're going to go through heavy Temple retake. Let's shut them down there. Exactly what they do. And now Endpoint with just 1 round loss. As mentioned, the economy haven't had time to build up. 1 round loss, they're now having to force up. 5.7s, MP9s, and 1 singular rifle. Lacking of helmets, skimping on Kevlar. These fleshy domes are ripe for the picking for Nami's Mac 10. Already a man advantage. Endpoint, not with the utility nor the weaponry to react assertively here. They're just going to play passively stacked up on the back lines of B. They let Mighty Max search for info, and as he clears out A main and now looks to flank towards middle, he'll get a lot of info, but Anonymo, they've decided to start to turn around. Okay, steps heard. Mighty Max holding a little bit of an off angle, get all this information, chooses not to pull the trigger. Instead, he's going to follow them in. They accelerate towards Donut. Seot looks to beat them towards the site, but only a dink. Again, the MP9 not worth much. Mighty Max picks Nami out of the sky, but the trade is there. So Anonymo do indeed have that A site secure once more, but this time a heavy man advantage. Endpoint should just look to save. Crucial still with this M4, unable to get involved in the action at all this round. Azubu might look to try and scavenge a weapon and upgrade, but oh, Crucial. That M4's been removed. The prized rifle looking to save. At least Azubu's managed to find something in response. The force bite. Not exactly fruitful for Endpoint. If anything, it's costly with 4 players falling and only 1 rifle saved. It's not even the M4 they bought up in the first place. It's the single Galil. Endpoint going to be ecoing here. Let's see how Azubu chooses to use this this rifle. Sent in towards cave. Endpoint heavy towards B here. Again, Mighty Max solo towards A. He's got 1 smoke to block to try and delay to keep Anonymo away from that A site. Perhaps try and push them towards B. Choosing not to burn that smoke in towards Donut just yet. Smoke comes in towards CT, and there we go. There's the second smoke to lock them out. I think if Anonymo have HEs, if they want to, they can just break this open. Exactly what they're going to do. A HE and the flash. Perfect combo. Mighty Max, nowhere to be seen. He's vacated, tucks himself away towards the temple. USP not going to find anything in this entire time. Endpoint were just praying that that smoke was enough to funnel Anonymo over towards that B bomb site where the 4 players were stacked, where Azubu was with this Galil. But no. Anonymo accelerate towards A. Endpoint weren't reactive off of that. Again, they were hoping that they came their way. Instead of taking initiative, instead of taking matters into their own hands. They're just creeping around as a pack here. They can find Straggler, find a stray player, and they are successful in that. So another rifle to be picked up. Endpoint with these 2 rifles could look to try and save them. In fact, they're doing a lot of damage here. Azubu's mowed down too. Oh, and Azubu's back turned not on Judy. Judy's actually able to remove both the rifles. That's quite damaging. Yes, you've done a lot of damage to the T economy with the amount of kills that you get, but prioritize your own as a CT side. And now you can see with this gun round that Endpoint has been waiting for, lacking a lot of utility. Don't think there's any kits either. Just trying to read the HUD. I don't think there are any. And this is ancient. I mean, look at the utility now. The initial utility is thrown to secure mid control, to secure lane, to stop any potential rushes. And 1 minute 33, Endpoint started with, I'd say, an okay amount of grenades. Now they have 2 smokes and HE. That's it. And Anonymo to again hit an empty A bomb site. This time a variation of their execute, smoking towards Temple and CT and a deeper smoke towards Donut. Oh. Judy tempting fate, looking to go and molly the back of Donut for a potential take of that extremity, but receives a dink. Right, none of these players actually seeing one another. A lot of damage has been done. I think Endpoint, yeah, electing to save. They don't have the utility for a retake. They don't have a kit. And they already know that Anonymo have figured out their initial sort of temple side retake that they tried before. So Endpoint are just going to save onto these 5 rifles. Next round, they'll have a better buy. They can spend their lost bonus cash on utility. They'll have more grenades. They'll be able to buy a couple kits. As long as they stay alive, purchase will be better. But Anonymo have taken the lead. Playing the economy game will only take you so far. At the end of the day, you still have to try and convert these rounds. You still have to get rounds on the board. Anonymo dumped a bunch of utility in towards mid to try and prevent aggression. You're seeing that a lot nowadays, this molly that the T's are throwing that lands almost in the center of mid. Basically stops the CTs pushing to the bottom. A lockdown elbow makes it uncomfortable for them to push up in towards heaven as well. But again, Anonymo, it's these set pieces looking to explode on towards the A side. But this time, Mighty Max eyes and waiting at the back. The smoke is deployed, and the Mighty Max perfect target selection, nice and composed to find the first 2. By space to Sayot to slink in. He's next to try and hold this smoke. He's actually going to go down too. Managed to catch Adrian behind. A nice little sight hold there from Endpoint, losing only 1 player. Finally, the adjustment was made by Endpoint. They're even taking a tactical timeout here. They've finally put a stop to the streak of Anonymo rounds. But it is these explosive set pieces. The style of play that Anonymo are playing is grouping up. They take map control as a pack. It's not spread out default style, pushing and pulling of the rotations. It's sit as a pack, take map control as a pack, wait to see if your opponents make a mistake, and then either explode, well, just explode somewhere. Whether it's onto the site or explode in a quick rotation. But now, after that is unsuccessful, Anonymo do start themselves with a bit more of a default spread. 3 towards lane, 2 just outside of mid. They secure lane control, smoke towards the cave. They can secure heaven control, and then they can slowly split in towards middle. The reaction to this slow style of play, Endpoint have overloaded in towards middle. Gambling, leaving this B site a bit open. But then Surreal to defend as he blocked in towards cave. Util fades in towards mid, Endpoint then creep in, a silent retake. But there's no trade. Sayot a little bit further ahead of his teammates. Sees the bullet to the dome. Reaction from Endpoint here to get proactive down towards the slope. Again, they overload this B site for the proactive play. But again, it's not successful. They just lose the fights. Anonymo, clean headshots, Endpoint, poor spacing, poor trading. Those after that double kill from Judy, they just explode. Up on towards that B side, they accelerate. Now just Max. 1v4. Health low on these players, but he's going to prioritise his economy and play for the save. Immediate switch up from Anonymo there is successful. It's being so explosive, dictating the pace of this game, they slow it right down. They sit back and wait for Endpoint to make the mistakes, and Endpoint do. I mean, I love the attempt from Endpoint. Again, they identified a slower style of play. They didn't match it pace to pace. Instead, they said, look, let's be proactive. Let's take map control on our terms as the CT side. They went for a 3-man take in middle. After taking mid, they then overloaded towards B, but each push, they whittled away, losing one player at a time. Now Anonymo, again, another default spread, but this time, a little bit more venom behind this mid take, behind this split. Accelerating in, and in fact, they're taking Cheetah in the same process. Reaction from Endpoint has been to push down towards the slope behind them. There's no Anonymo players here to hold them. Pete comes out from Nami, and he's absolutely punished. Endpoint knew it was about to come. They held for it, and a reaction from Anonymo. They see a 2-man push down the slope. He's accelerating towards A, but there's a trap lying in wait. Sayo and Max good for one apiece, but there's Adrian. Quick trades. Still in man advantage maintained for Endpoint, but Anonymo securing that site. As soon as I say that, Crucial has both players pinned to the wall. They can't escape. They can't get into what they name. Endpoint, this time a little bit more successful in their proactive plays. So tied scoreline, 5-5. Only 2 rounds left in the half. Again, Anonymo, they slow it down again somewhat. Nami doesn't look to do so. Instead, he's going a little bit more speedily. And again, Endpoint proactive, taking lane control, picking apart this slower paced Anonymo. And when I say slower pace, I mean it's more middling pace. They started off this half, as I mentioned, just grouped up as a pack of at least 4 players to take map control. Now they're just being picked apart. Mighty Max a successful side hold, and it's clean from Endpoint. Again, as I was saying, they started this half grouped up as a pack, playing 4-man Counter-Strike, being explosive. They take map control as a 4, and it's very difficult to push a pack. Say, for example, Anonymo, they take B lane as a 4. You can't really push into that because there's just so many players stacked up there. They'd take that map control, and then they'd be explosive on any reaction that they had. Again, as a group, maximising that trade potential. But here, they've slowed things down. Initially, it worked when they were slow, but then they went a little bit faster, and that meant they were able to be picked off. Now, final round of the half, eventually Endpoint have control of the economy with Anonymo forcing up on Tech 9's Kevlar. But again, maybe we might see similar play test to what we saw before. A bit more explosive here. The Anonymo side. Endpoint have to fight in front of these smokes, but that might be their undoing. In fact, it is. They neglect the cave push that comes through. They're so eager, so keen to fight towards the slope, fight towards the ramp, and take these jewels that they're shot in the side of the head. And with the Tech 9s, Anonymo have taken the B site. And Crucial and Mighty Max. A 2 versus 4 retake. Last round of the half. There's no reason not to go for this. But a retake with an AWP coming into the cave. It's far from optimal. Crucial kind of just sat here waiting to see what Mighty Max can pull out. That Mighty Max is going to find 2. Crucial Perfect timing to execute Nami. Into the 1 versus 2, and crucial, a beautiful peek off the back of Mighty Max's flash. I believe there's more than enough time on the bomb. Endpoint will successfully find a 2 versus 4 retake there. Mighty Max topping the scoreboard here on 11 kills. Had some beautiful multi-kills over there towards the A site. The couple times that he's actually been on the site when Anonymo came his way. The IGL bring up the necessary numbers. But a good string of 5 for Anonymo gives them a good bed of rounds to work with. If they can win this pistol, they'll no doubt be taking the lead. Taking charge. Quick look at the investments here on this one. Anonymo going to be going for 5 sets of Kevlar. No kits, no utility. The Endpoint side, it's a smoke and a Molotov for Mighty Max. This. Smoke towards short, molly towards long. Set Endpoint up to the B site split. 3 coming in through cave with the bomb. The trades coming through thick and fast. Anonymo coming out on top with the USP, looking to take those duels, fighting behind the Molotov. But acceleration, perhaps a little bit too early, comes through, and Seot Surreal punish them both, even Judy. A 1 versus 2, and the Glocks prevail. Anonymo a decent site hold to get them that man advantage, but in the 3 versus 2, overplay their hand, pushing towards long a little bit too early. Instead, Endpoint are able to stretch their lead, and not only that, they have, without a doubt, control of the economy here. And if Anonymo choose to buy here, it would be awful. So they're going to choose to go for an eco. Malavi and Adrian, in fact, going to buy a couple of Deagles. Didn't find anything. Endpoint accelerating into map control. Mighty Max with the Mac 10. Takes Cheetah. Gonna line up. One-handed flash. Clearing out all these angles. Smoke towards short. Nami is in front of this utility. The smoke's replenished. Be blocking out these players. The HE actually catches off Nami. So Endpoint now successfully taking this B site. Anonymo again playing behind the back lines, locked out behind these smokes. It's just a spew of bullets spammed from either side through these smokes, but Endpoint by far the superior weapons. Real clean house. Fetching their way up to a 9. First gun round here in the second half for Anonymo. Getting those M4s out in force, but again, it's such weak utility for this map. Limits their options so heavily when it comes to contesting map control. Even for blocking in the mid rounds, their reactions are going to be so limited. Already they've lost not just Cheetah, but Cave itself. Play does come through, the push in towards the cave, and it is successful. It's a dry push. 2 M4s, and they find 3 kills, in fact. This site hold is actually dismantling Endpoint's default. Blink and you miss it. As I was mentioning, that their options were so limited, right? You've not got the utility to go for map control takes. You can't exactly take lane. You can't flash your way into cave. But what you can do is use your numbers. You still have 5 players. You can contact. You can trade out, and that's exactly what they do. A 2-man pushing towards cave. They take the fight together, maximizing that trade potential. And at Endpoint, their reaction to that push was kind of segregated. Players on their lonesomes, 9-6, Endpoint still with a 3-round lead. Both sides now buying up with limited utility. Heavy rifles and a little HE. 2 little HEs to soften up these players. Mighty Max punished, domed by Nami. Flying towards heaven, good for the headshot. Bit of a belayed trade by Sayot. Said Malavi. We'll punish him for that. 3 versus 4. Another 1-for-1 trade up towards the heavens. Crucial position now known in Anonymo. Take this fight, jumping up towards the heavens. There you have it, Anonymo on the 7th. Time 2 rounds together. Most importantly, 3 players surviving, an opportunity to build some bank. And as you can see, finally their investment is fruitful. That's not just because they have the AKs, it's because they have all this utility and an AWP up on Malawi too. Not only that, it's likely to grow, likely to develop as Endpoint on this round, only working with pistols. They are going to be going for a bit of an all-in play over here towards A. Contacting in, but they're contacting up against an AWP. Malawi, prime position to be overwhelmed here, but falls back safely towards Temple. Exactly how he should. Fires off a shot, falls to the next angle, and if Endpoint creep on closer, he picks them off one by one, buys time for his teammates to rotate in, and doesn't go down. And allow himself to fall victim to that tirade of pistols. Economy built up for Anonymo, and they're now just 1 round behind Endpoint. Endpoint now looking to secure mid-control. But Anonymo have a fierce resistance. Judy, 2 clean headshots fighting his way in. Counter flash by Adrian. For a 2-man advantage, Endpoint, they were setting themselves up for a bit of an A split, but the mid-prong has been dismantled. And now Anonymo can set their sights keenly towards A. Widescreen, looking to see if he can find the fight, and resisted by Malavi's Zulu, trying his best to battle through. Endpoint, they're not even successful at getting the bomb plant. I thought they had. I thought Crucial had swung to try and defend that, but no. The scoreline tied, that bomb plant would have been very useful to get perhaps a stronger half investment. But for now, all they can afford is Tech 9s and Kevlar, the odd piece of utility. They might have been able to afford the odd Galil, maybe a Mac 10. They had got that bomb plant. This time from Endpoint. All-in play towards this A side. Alert, smoke towards Donut, smoke towards CT. They secure default control. A late flank coming in from Sayot, but oh, he fumbles it. The Tech 9 spamming on the run, doesn't find a single kill. Now Anonymo can turn their full attention towards this A side. Yes, Endpoint have the bomb plant, but a 2-man disadvantage. It's going to be hard to work back from, and they're being just picked apart. Azu's only good for 1. All Endpoint will find as Anonymo find double digits first. If Sayot was able to find any semblance of success there towards Donut, if he just found 1 kill and got traded, that would have opened up the pathway for Endpoint, the rest of the players on towards the site, to fight through the Donut smoke and isolate the last player there. And then you've got 2 rifles picked up, including, I believe, an AWP in towards Donut. Not only that, a strong post-plant position. All hinged on that Sayot play, but finds little to no success. Anonymo are now on fire. Timeout pause. Endpoint. A little bit slower this time, a little bit more measured, waiting to see what information Anonymo present. See if Endpoint can figure out what setup they're playing with. Or at the very least burn out this utility. Anonymo burning a lot of it very early on. Only 2 smokes and 2 Molotovs left for the CT side. Proactive down the ramp as he spots the tip of the head. He's in that level of anticipation to find Darsheville. But the crunch is coming in from Anonymo in towards heaven. They split the lane. Azuwu isolated. Crucial from Max unable to find any reprieve, any help. But Adrian overstays his... or oversteps. Here's Mark. Giving anyone that man advantage. Anonymo had beforehand gone 1-for-1 there. And oh, what is this play from Nami? Fading the smoke. Is he going to pull it? He's successful at finding one. A lot more than he should have got there, to be honest. At the very least, Mighty Max finds that trade. A smoke gives him a clean pathway up towards the B side, but Chudy again edges through the side of the smoke. So 2 versus 2, 30 seconds left. Endpoint should know where these 2 players are. Zayot replenishes the smoke. Flashes his way out. A HE to blow it open. Zayot isolated and 15 seconds left. Surreal is just so far out of the picture here. Yes, he's able to find one, but Chudy knows. Chudy knows all he has to do is live. There's not enough time for Surreal to get this bomb planted. Surreal does at least stay alive. Chudy an attempt to take him down after time. But so scrappy there from Endpoint. Well, scrappy initially from Anonymo, but they wanted it to be scrappy. They wanted that crunch. They wanted that fight. They wanted to pick off all these Endpoint players. But as soon as it goes into that man advantage for Endpoint, I don't know, Mighty Max tries to force his way up towards the B site. Unnecessary considering he's carrying the bomb. But then they're kind of unsure about the information. He should have known that there was the last 2 players for Anonymo on the B lane. But Surreal took so long to flank as if they were uncertain that was the case. Regardless, another default for Endpoint. Anonymo. Creeping ever closer to victory. Proactive flash from Nami, good for only 1. 4 being traded, so a 4 versus 4 again. Endpoint able to thin out this CT herd. Anonymo now have to cover the same amount of ground with less players. Good util, but Darsheville does not respect the molly whatsoever, and at that range, hard to hear the ticks of the flames. Endpoint doesn't have that advantage. Surreal catches a proactive Adrian. Again, another 3 versus 3, but it's back and forth. 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1. Finally, a fight from Anonymo goes unanswered by Endpoint. Look at this read. Endpoint shifting in towards the donut. Anonymo made themselves shifted a little bit heavier. Chudy's going to hear all these steps, but accidentally step himself. Jumping out towards Proki. Endpoint alerted to his location, but at the very least, as long as he stays alive, he's denied them the bomb plant, delayed them from getting that bomb in the ground. Buys time for his teammates to rotate in, and Anonymo find a map point here on their map pick. Endpoint's T side here, I'll be honest, has looked quite lackluster. You compare it to Anonymo's T side, the way that they were very explosive, and they had clear indication, clear determination when it came to whatever piece of map control they took. It was a clear plan, clear engagement. Whereas Endpoint here, they're just going to these defaults. They're being picked off 1 by 1, and the mid-rounding is borderline non-existent right now. And again, They go for the default. 2 players in the extremities get picked off. Not buddied up. Not ready for those trades. Endpoint have at least found a safe pathway in towards this A site. And there we go. A buddy system finally pays off. Crucial and Surreal. Pushing their way in towards Temple. Again, another trade. To the 2-on-2. Surreal. No health. Darkfield charges out towards Donut. Behind default, Surreal dealt with. 1 minute on the clock. Crucial in a 1 versus 2. Anonymo know this. They know they have the man advantage and they can just reset. Crucial has to search. See if you can find at least 1 player. Doesn't have any utility to work with to isolate these fights. I think he's just waiting for now to see if Anonymo makes a mistake. Able to pick up the bomb. We'll creep in towards CT, but it's played from Larvae. There it is. Anonymo will be taking their map pick of Ancient 13-9. A very strong CT side from them. But also, I have to say, Endpoint, a little bit disappointing from their T side. There wasn't much really going on with their playbook. They didn't have much to work with. It was default after default after default being picked off one by one. Even on the defaults, there was no sort of adaptation to go for those buddy systems to make sure they had that trade potential. It was only on that last round where we saw a glimpse of that with that 2-man pushing towards Temple, but by that point, far too late. So that does mean we will be going to a 3rd and final map, the decider map of, I believe it's Anubis, coming up next after this quick break. Welcome back to European Pro League. We're here with the final map of this deciding game here in Group C between Endpoint and Anonymo. Both teams managed to scrape by on their own map picks. Anonymo looking a little bit more convincing on theirs as they took Ancient. But that does leave us here with Anubis again. A map which, just looking at the stats here, let me just exactly double check, just so I can get them correctly. Endpoint have a 4-map loss streak on. Now, looking at the initial veto, looking at also the map pool between these two teams, well, yes, Anonymo are a significantly lower, I say significantly, a slightly lower ranked team than Endpoint. You look at the actual map veto, and these maps are very comfortable for Anonymo. You've got, as mentioned before, Ancient, which is a map which Anonymo pick 90% of the time, a very comfortable map for them. It's also a map which Endpoint don't have a high win rate on. And then Anubis, a map which Anonymo do have a high win rate on, and Endpoint aren't so comfortable on as the decider. So for me, I would have honestly thought Endpoint needed to take it in 2, unless they can dig deep and find something almost magical here on Anubis. It is a map where anything can really happen in terms of that upset potential, in terms of the possibility for comebacks. It's a map which is also dependent on how strong of a CT side you can put up. And if you can't put up a strong CT side, then a T side can immediately make a comeback. So if Endpoint give themselves a good, strong bed of rounds here on this T side, all they'll need is a couple to close it out on the CT side. But after that knife round win, Endpoint will start off the strong side, but try and get that head start. On this one, Mighty Max going to be buying that smoke and 2 flashes, the utility for his team here on the pistol round. Anonymo, they're doing a bit of a 1-2-2. What's the default setup? Flash, smoke, and Julies employed for them. The lurk in mid dealt with. Adrian, a clean shot on towards Crucial. The man advantage, the lurk dealt with. Endpoint now accelerate their pop in towards this D-bomb side, but Nami towards Dark, good for 2. Azuu, 2 of his own. Suddenly equal trades, and it's a 2 versus 2. Bombs to be planted, Endpoint secure that cash injection for the next round. Now they just have to secure their post plant. Mighty Max still on towards the site, looking to see if he can take the fights on his terms. Good for 1, but overstays his welcome, dealt with by Malavi. Azuu, 1 versus 2, but a smoke on towards the bomb. No kit. Azuu does have the perfect weapons for the job. Azoo's just going to call his bluff. Tap it the second time. Tries to let loose with the Julies. Even getting the knife involved in the action from Malavi. Forfeited the round. Ran out of time. Simply no kit. Makes it very difficult to secure that 1 versus 1. So Endpoint, that much needed start, as mentioned before. See if they can break this loss streak that they're on. Anonymo going to be forcing up here. Going for 5 MP9s, getting the SMGs in play. But again, it's a default set for them, and these kind of force buys, if the CTs go for a second round force, I'm still a fan of them treating it like an eco round in terms of their setup, and going for some sort of all-in play, some sort of stack, some sort of gamble, some sort of aggressive set piece on the CT side. Instead, they're playing it as if it's a default, and the MP9 is only good for 1 before being traded here on the A site. The site itself carpeted with mollies, smokes to lock out these rotations. They'll be able to securely get this bomb planted, and Endpoint is still cutting off rotations in the process. Mighty Max able to find Nami. Eventually Adrian finishes him off. Oh, and Seon, 103 points of health, and his own molly finishes him off. Oh no, it's disaster for Endpoint here on the site. Leaving Crucial in the clutch. And only good for 1. Oh my goodness. Oh, Seon. That is a desk slamming moment if ever I've seen one. There's a molly in hand, ready to molly out heaven, but caught down to just 1 point of health. Misses the molly because of it. It would have almost been better if he'd committed to throwing that molly and died throwing it. rather than, you know, trying to survive, missing the molly, dying. The molly then is no longer effective for him, for the tees. And Endpoint, they lose a round where they had a 4 versus 3, the A-bomb site in the palm of their hands. Util even locking out Anonymo, who Anonymo were working with MP9s and Kevlar, no rifles. Fortunately, the bomb plant does prevent Endpoint being hard reset. They can come into this with a couple Galils. They're going to be going for a big pot here on towards B. And the entries are successful despite Anonymo being stacked here with 3 players. All 3 players are going to fall. The cost of only 1. Endpoint fight back. Clenched their jaw down hard. Sink their teeth into this B-bomb site. And Darshville will elect to save these 2 weapons. Again, this back and forth of the economy is not good for the CTs. Well, it's not good for either side, to be honest, but the Ts have that added benefit of if they do get the bomb plant on these back and forths, they at least have a little bit more wiggle room with their funds. Behind the save, Anonymo will go for another force buy, another back and forth attempt. This time, it's not 5 MP9s. It's only the 3 as they have 2 rifles to boot. 4 and the AK. And Endpoint need to put a stop to this back and forth as soon as possible. They're relying, at least in my opinion, unless their CT side is formidable on this map, relying on getting as many rounds as possible on the T side. Endpoint throw their initial utility towards middle. They let it all subside, they freeze, they slow things right down. As things slow down, Anonymo, they don't have much utility, so they're forced to fall in towards the site. It's a 2-3 split. Reaction comes through. Anonymo look to be proactive to secure a main control. In doing so, it has to pull that rotation of Malawi in towards Temple. They clear out A main, and then they fall back to their previous setup. Now, diverting their attention towards middle, Malawi can bolster the B-bomb site. These 2 Anonymo players defending the A site. Search towards mid, but they search in towards the scope crucial. The first player to fall hits the ground with 40 seconds left in the round. The reaction here from Anonymo is nice. They've seen no pressure towards B whatsoever, so they push. Towards connector, but Azubu has them both held. 2 kills in quick succession for him. Darshville trying to split water with his teammates, does eventually dispatch of Azubu, but in the process, in the meantime, Endpoint crept in towards A from camp. Malawi. 1 versus 4 again. Endpoint going to be wanting to hunt and remove this M4 from play. Malawi just tucked in towards T spawn.
Terrorists win.
Oh, and there we go. Finished off. No weapons to be saved. Anonymo will be on a full eco. That M4 would have made a huge difference. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking, well, it's only one rifle. It'd still be on an eco. They'd still have no utility. It'd still be on full pistol. But 1 rifle, 1 M4 is enough to win a single fight. A single 1 versus 1. And if you get a 1 versus 1, it's in a position where the rifle dropped by the T's can be picked up. Suddenly, in Anonymo, their odds double. Because they'd have 2 rifles. that. But at the moment, Anonymo looking to snowball here towards B main. In fact, they're going to find 2 rifles with just the USPs. They're going to be hunting down, even dispatching them crucial. The picked up AK deals with Sayot. Suddenly, this round is all falling apart for Endpoint. 1 minute 25 on the clock, and Azu's in a 1 versus 3. This is a round where Anonymo were working with just USPs. And they accelerated. They rushed B main. And Endpoint failed to put up any semblance of a fight. A damp squib of a round from Endpoint. Tactical timeout from Endpoint. Much needed after that one. The fact that a USP rushing towards B main was successful for Anonymo, that's damning for Endpoint. In terms of their fundamentals, their communication, something is not necessarily rotten. I was going to say rotten there, but that's a little bit too far. Something is just not in sync right now for Endpoint. The fact that their reaction to a B rush. This is a team who've been together for quite a while as well. For the better part of a year of Endpoint, this 5-man lineup. And they didn't have the protocols to react towards that B main push. Reaction here. Go aggressive. Sayot searching for an opening attempt in towards middle, but find anything just yet. That he's shut down. Endpoint at the least get the information. Now a 4-man play, a 4-man pack in towards this B bomb site where Anonymo sit, play retake. Behind the CT smoke, Azu, good recall control to find Nami. But 4 versus 4 and even state of affairs. As I say that, Mighty Max finds Shooter. He overstays his welcome, spamming in through that smoke. Bomb planted, man advantage for Endpoint. More utility comes raining on in to lock down these rotations. A flash in towards CT. Mighty Max composed on the spray. Not punished on the reload either. Dances around the pillar to find Adrian. Surreal comes in to support. Suddenly Anonymo, they all fall towards CT. A nice little set piece there from Endpoint. A nice little pop. Unfortunately, it's the perfect counter for Anonymo's retake setup. Just one singular smoke deployed towards the left side of the site. Endpoint waste minimal resources in taking the site itself, locking out Anonymo. And the fights that come through, whether it be from Anonymo or from Endpoint, will go Endpoint's way. Again, Anonymo looking to go for these force buys. They've had success with less. But Sayot this time successful. 2 beautiful opening kills. The double mollies in towards mid, straight through that smoke. Find 2 clean headshots. Even the adjustment, anticipating the swing through the doors before it came through. And again, Anubis is the kind of map where you get that opening so early on that T side. The CTs are at such a heavy disadvantage. Even in a 5-on-5, they need to be playing proactively. They need to be playing to gain map control, to gain information. That's so much harder with a man disadvantage. Meantime, Sayot found another kill before being traded. Endpoint secure an empty B bomb site. Anonymo have to look to save these 2 weapons towards A. Army just overstaying his welcome there, or rather overstepping the mark.
Terrorists win.
Picked off that extra rifle again. Could have made all the difference. Would have doubled their odds, doubled their weaponry. Coming to round number 8. that it's just this AWP of Malawi. So far, we're kind of yet to see it find much impact. Like that, he himself is at 124 ADR, 8 kills. Leading the way substantially in the ADR department. But this AWP itself, this sniper rifle, yet to get involved. Let's see where he chooses to take it. Moved up towards jail. It's a great spot here, but have Endpoint overlooked it? Crucial himself going for opening attempts towards B main, and no, Malawi can't get away. Malawi misses the shot, punished by Surreal, and Crucial continues to pin these Anonymo players to the wall. At the very least, in Malawi's dying breath, he was able to get that AWP over to Adrian. These initial fights, Sayok managed to find his way all the way through Temple to flank this B bomb site. We'll clear this out. Adrian's still a potential threat with this AWP, but it's a 1 versus 5.
Bomb has been planted.
Max will get that bomb planted in. They're already hunting and they're back. That extra level of caution there, knowing that there was an AWP in play. The flash in towards CT so Crucial can peek. Big round from him, even though it is up against pistols. At least for the most part. Nice early molly there from Surreal. He's able to escape around it to get his way into towards game. Boys are smoked well timed. Brent Sayot getting inside. Anonymo. They're only working 2 rounds and they've been off the back of mostly 4 spies. This round going to be just as hard to win considering their lack of utility. Flash lineup. To isolate Sayot. Shoulder spotted. Unable to convert, it's Surreal. Find the trade instead. So 4 versus 4. And oh, Crucial spots the leg, a nice little pixel angle. Sends the HE in to finish off the job. Gives Endpoint the man advantage again. They can slow down, they can fully manipulate the rotations, but Crucial doesn't expect Malawi to have crept in towards jail. The heat goes down Endpoint and now accelerating towards B. They deal with Adrian's flank. Surreal catches Darshville and they know the last player here, Malawi. Clean headshot from Mighty Max. Endpoint are stampeding away here at the T side. Anonymo, their CT side is looking quite lackluster. It leads me to question, you know, their relatively high win rate on this map. Certainly doesn't come from their CT side. That always brings into question for me with how T-sided this map is. Whenever I watch it, like, okay, you've got a massively one-sided half. Who's to say the next half isn't incredibly one-sided in the other way? Always have that fear, that possibility, even when playing it. Endpoint against another force spy. He goes 1 for 1. Crucial missed shot. Overstays his welcome. Goes 1 for 1 himself. So a 3 versus 3. That's a stronger weapon that Nami's able to upgrade. Fortunately for Anonymo, Endpoint have taken this B bomb site. They will be able to get this bomb planted. It's all about this retake. Anonymo circling, closing in. Different extremities. The MP9 successful. Surreal. Not a clean flight. Endpoint doubled up in towards Con. Anonymo figured that one out. The 5-7's getting involved in the action. It's now just Sayot. Heals and Nami can focus his attention towards his flank. The health of these players incredibly low. Swaps out the Glock and will find the clutch. The 1 versus 2, I believe. 1 versus 3. Endpoint a strong streak of 5 in a row. But again, look how close it gets with pistols. That's when Anonymo are being proactive. That's the difference, right? Is that on these gun rounds, and they're being a little bit too vanilla, playing as if it's any other map. But this isn't any map. This is Anubis. This is the most T-sided map. This is the map where the CTs are asked to do so much more. To be so much more proactive and aggressive and dynamic and unpredictable. But at the moment, Anonymo are only doing that when they have pistols, which is kind of instinctual. But they need to do it when they have the weapons. Finally, Malavi's AWP lands its mark and does more than just that. Finds a second even. Anonymo can get a good bet of 4 rounds here. We're looking at a relatively even half, at least for this map. Malavi's fully repositioned over towards B. Again, it's proactive. What we need, Malavi, go for that peek. Go on, get that info. As soon as he clears water, just bring that rotation over towards A, but it's coming through anyway. Here comes to support Darsheville. Still off angle. For 1, flash comes through, fully blinds Zulu. Eventually, Surreal trades, but now he's in a clutch scenario. This would be a 1v5. He'd need to ace it. It's up the AK, the U-tilt. Trading on in from Anonymo. Surreal needs to be clean on these, but he can't. Trade comes through. Finally, Anonymo get another CT round on the board. With just 1 round left in the half. Endpoint still more than enough to invest. Unwavering, uncompromised buy on both sides this time. In fact, Anonymo going for the double AWP. Bit of a risky play here. Surreal through the lurk smoke. Little does he know, how often have Anonymo been playing this gel position? It's one of their favourites. They've been playing it constantly, and they've had very little success with it. But they've been playing it nonetheless, yet Surreal still goes for the lurk smoke play to walk through in towards jail. At the very least, Endpoint have a quick reaction here. Try and make their way in towards this A site, and what a cracking entry from Azu. Clean headshot towards Darsheville. Hold a lovely off angle. Still kicking, still fighting. Receives a HE to the dome, but has some cover. Crucial. Playing over the top would be Sayot to find the final frag of the round. A 9-3 half. Very dominant for Endpoint. They need only 4 CT rounds to try and close it. But again, this is Anubis. Those 4 CT rounds aren't going to be easy. If they can get the pistol, I'm sure that they can close it. But same goes both ways, right? If Anonymo get the pistol, they have the opportunity to steamroll away on their T side. Again, this is a Group C elimination match. A loser out of the tournament. In last place of all things, neither of these teams fancy going down so low. The last place finish here in European Pro League. Nice little gamble stack here from Endpoint. Heavy towards the A side with the potential for a fast flank towards B. Search. Met with heavy resistance. Loses his life in the process. Anonymo's reaction here. The potential for them was to split A, but a quick diversion. Dropping in towards the water. Accelerating towards this A site. This B site, sorry, but Sayot beautiful retake position. Falls all the way back towards CT and single tap. Find Malavi. Anonymo, their reaction here. They know that water is compromised. CT as well. They have to fight to protect them. But the bomb not planted for them. Zuu just going to be sticking this one. Relying on the teammates to hold these players at bay. I say that. He likes to get the job done himself. Goes to the swing. Julius finish it off. A triple kill for him. Endpoint up to 10, up to double digits. At the very least, Anonymo with that bomb plant can go for a force buy here. I have no doubt that they will. Malavi already with the Galil. Surreal donning the FAMAS. Interested to see how, after the update that comes this week, how the FAMAS plays. One I've been waiting on, to be honest, for years for FAMAS to get a buff. At the very least, a price reduction. Well, the MP9s are strong. It always felt like the CP's never had a sort of viable weapon to compete with the Galil. FAMAS just being way too expensive. At least for how good it is. Or how poor, should I say. Anonymo going to go for an all-in 4-man mid push here, and they will find the opening once they opt. Smoke towards camera. Endpoint's rotation is in play, but this is too many Anonymo players to deal with. They swarm through middle, overwhelm both the players in towards Temple, without losing a single player, but plenty of health. Anonymo find themselves with a 3-man advantage and a quick reaction, a quick 4-man play in towards B. Again, this is very sort of reminiscent of how these two teams played on Ancient, comparing their T-sides. Anonymo is very 4-man Counter-Strike. You'd send 4 players in to take map control somewhere with 1 player lurking. They'd take that map control, and then they'd assess whether they wanted to commit with that map control, freeze with that map control, or make a diversion and accelerate somewhere else. And that's exactly what they do here. They 4-man map controlling towards mid. They take the fights. They take that man advantage. They slow it down a sec, and they say, look, should accelerate away towards B, through towards water. Compared to Endpoint, who played very default heavy. It was very individualistic as well when it came to their openings for Endpoint. They were spread out across the map, spread relatively thin. You'd have 1 or 2 players going for some sort of opening gambit, which oftentimes didn't have great trade potential. Endpoint will be forcing up behind these 2 saved weapons. FAMAS and the M4. We're going for a 1-1-3. Close in on this B bomb side. 2 towards con, 3 towards B main. The utility now starts to rain on in. 5-7s in the chaos in the smokes. We find a semblance of success. The FAMAS now struggling at range. Loses it out to a Glock, but the fast flank comes through from Sayot. Weapons picked up for Endpoint. 2 rifles in play. Sayot still with a deagle in hand, going for the spam. Fortunately, Azuu was there to trade. Endpoint successful on the force by the 5-7s. Up close to these choke points. Anonymo, they set them sights on an early B split. A very early one at that. Not working too much map control beyond connector and B main. But in doing so, it meant that they executed and forced their way through smokes, which is where the 5-7s do their best work. And while, yes, those 5-7s didn't win the round single-handedly, those 5-7s got 1 each. That's it. FAMAS gets 1 each. The fast flanking comes in from Endpoint. At that point, Anonymo had been whittled away. Both teams forcing up again. Heavy rifle side. 2 for 1. Surreal runs out of bullets. Swaps over to the USP, but dealt with by space and time for Crucial to dance around default. It's he who's decapitated in the end. 2 versus 2. Sayot boys utility to try and soften up these players. At least delays this bomb plan. Smoke fades. Shudi isolated, but so is Azuwu. Anonymo, relatively calm and composed. I say that, still a scrappy fight. Sayot. 1 versus 2. The flash comes through and they line up. Oh dear, Anonymo. The flashing towards CT lands a little bit too deep. It lands above Sayot's head rather than in front of his eyes. And even a couple shots onto the corpses to make sure they're dead. 1 versus 2 clutch from Sayot, able to line up those Anonymo players. Again, these mid-rounds from Anonymo are scrappy, perhaps a symptom of how desperate this scoreline looks. It's Endpoint. Find their way. A map, match, and series point here. And Anonymo are only 1 round away from being eliminated. Not a perfect buy from Endpoint, but it's much better than their opponents. Sayot. This is Nami's attempt to drop in towards water. There's a contact from Anonymo in towards this B bomb site, and it's all falling apart. Surreal and Crucial just mow them all down. And Crucial finds the final kill through the edge of the smoke. It's domination here on Anubis from Endpoint after a stellar T side. And honestly, again, for me, both these last 2 maps have come down not necessarily to how strong the victors were, but more so how lacking the defeated teams were. On Ancient, Endpoint's T side was borderline non-existent. Whereas here, it was Anonymo's CT side was borderline non-existent. They weren't proactive. They only were proactive when they had the weak weaponry, when they had the 5.7s and the MP9s, and that's where their CT rounds came from. But yeah, that does mean Anonymo eliminated here from Group C of European Pro League as Endpoint find themselves the victors 2-1. We do have another game coming up later, and that'll be Permitta versus ENCE Academy, which is the winners match of Group C. So we'll be back after a quick break for that match.